Okay, I'm trying to figure out was what was the main vocal element of evil in World War II? Was it on elimination of, like, there was out, obviously a genocide. There's plenty of information in the Holocaust Memorial Museum. But was it about other things? Was it about um other things? The reason when I'm talking why I'm talking about this is because um from what I noticed, the year is 2022, is that Jewish people have different points of view. Okay. What I mean is they're on a political right leaning side, a political left leaning side, Ben Shapiro fans, Mayim Bialik fans. I mean, like, to me, I see a balance that needs to be there, but something is missing. Okay. So we're in the year 2022. Are we any better today than we were back then? Honestly, we have the same eyes and ears as they had back then. Okay. Um, we just have higher technology rates, but that doesn't mean that we're better. They were beginning to come up with various technologies in the World War II era. So, kind of makes me wonder if the issues of World War II were not entirely based on eliminating Jewish people alone. It sounds to me like it's more about eliminating the facts of the Jewish people, the truth about Israel, the factual elements of truth regarding the origins and conditions of various nations of Abraham. But it's more about eliminating the truth of Abraham. Does that make sense? Um, Jesus himself, you know, he's Jewish. He spoke about the truths about Abraham and who's considered the real sons of Abraham, okay? Or, like, he could come up with his own version of Abraham, so to speak. Now, that's not saying that Christians are entirely exempt from that just because Jesus said something. This is what Jesus himself is saying. So, what I'm saying is that the real foundational elements of evil from World War II, it was not based on removal of, or like, the Jewish people. It was not based on hatred of Jewish people. It was based on hatred about the truth of the Jewish people, the truths about Israel, the truths about Abraham. And Jesus himself solved it for the people already. Sometimes Jewish people admit he said it right, and some people don't. It depends. Okay. Um, in synagogues today, they'll speak about Sermon on the Mount topics or parables. Why? Because there's a Talmudic connection. Jesus had some knowledge. He was a regular to the synagogues. He was a regular attendee at synagogues. You can look it up in the scripture. It says when he is reading in front of the synagogue, he was a regular attendee at a synagogue. So he was aware of what Talmudic topics were. And he was never, it never says in the scripture he's outright opposed to these neutral elements, like fasting. He's just opposed to certain ways of doing things, okay? Anyway, I'm not a super theologian. Don't count me on that. Just really check the scriptures. Okay, since we are in the year 2022, we should know the basic facts um, about that era. And one of them is obvious. The topic of World War II is elimination of Jewish people. What was it more about elimination of the truths of the Jewish people, meaning the cultural elements, Hebrew language, obvious ancestry trail feature, nation to nation feature themes, which there's a lot more to the nations of Abraham than what um, the Nazis really wanted to admire. Hence, they were going after other groups of people as well from different ancestry backgrounds. Okay. Um, in our modern era, when we are looking at the funding for college students, and we're saying we want others to pay off college debt, meanwhile the college's rates and the price is skyrocketing, inflation is going up, women's health is being seen as just an object of political discussion rather than a reality, meaning they don't really want to take care of the 12-week to 2 weeks or 2 months postpartum for women. They don't care about the neonatal intensive care unit. They're just saying these political things for political gain. There's a lot of issues because every bleeding woman really actually needs that 20-minute drive and closeness to the ER. So, it seems to me that the truth of matters was the victim. The truth was the victim in World War II. The truth of the matters of who the Jewish people were was the victim of World War II. It wasn't just being Jewish. There were variations of 100% white ancestry backgrounds, and maybe they had 1/64th ancestry of Jewish ancestry. But they didn't care. They could murder each other just because they had they had more whiteness than Jewishness. I'm like, something is a little bit fishy when people create so much evil. We are in the modern era. And we are looking at something called someone else is paying off somebody else's college debt. And these colleges, the college costs are skyrocketing. Something seems a little bit odd. Okay. You see where I'm kind of going here? I think that there should be something for people that can't pay off colleges. It's called set aside a separate type of college for them. Yes, they already have state colleges and universities, which are more affordable. Why do they need more methods of creating more federal-based taxations? Something seems a little bit odd. Why can't they just have a special college set aside for entirely federally funded colleges? No, we got to tax people more. That's your goal. Something says that the truth is not wanted. Anyway, the year is 2022. We can do better as humanity. Okay? Think about it.